Hi, my name is Brandon Miller, and I'm here to present to you the slideshow for the Danville FFA Tractor Restoration 2022. This presentation will be on our 1951 Farmall Super C that the chapter redid. So this is a Farmall Super C. We have on the left pictures from the beginning, and on the right the final product of what Danville FFA could push out. It came in looking rough, and we got it out looking brand new. History of the Farmall Super C. The Farmall Super C was manufactured from 1951 to 1954. This tractor replaced the Farmall C. It's very similar to the C, but with major improvements being 10 more cubic inches, a water pump, and a disc brake. Farmall's smallest row crop tractor. In 1953, it became the first international harvester model to feature the famous 2-point IH fast hitch. History of our Farmall Super C. It was purchased by Melvin Butch Smith Jr. in the mid-1960s. It was used for hauling manure, hay wagons, brush hogging, and plowing the garden. It was parked since the 1990s. Our journey. These pictures are when Miss Kelly Smith Wells first brought the tractor to her place from her parents in the winter of 2020. This is the picture of it first arriving at school in March of 2021. When it rolled in, it came off the trailer easily, but we did have to give it a little bit of force. The brakes worked good as soon as we took it off, so we knew that was one plus to this tractor, that we didn't have to mess a whole lot with the brake system. Our initial assessment. Our initial assessment was it was really rough around the edges. Everything had pretty good layers of grease, rust, and everything else just caked on it from being parked for years and years and years.
So I am Michael Howard. I am talking about the initial assessment after my friend Brandon. So after all of the stuff that we did, after we got it outside from to inside, there's a lot of rust and grime that we had to really grind down and get rid of the rust. So there were some dents in the grill and all the caps that we had to really work out. We did a lot of body work that needed to be fixed. So everything really had to get pounded out, and we had to use some stuff to get rid of. So a lot of work needed to be really done to it. So the core was good. The engine had some mishaps, really was rusted. We had cylinders rusted, as you can see in the next picture, I believe. Overall, the tractor was really solid core. It just needed a lot of love and work done to it. So, engine rebuild, pistons 1 and 2 were rusted fast to the sleeve. So, we had to drain all the fluid out and really try to get them out, but we had a hard time with it. You can see that the fluids had water in it. There was a lot of water and rust and discoloration of everything. The front pulley was really fighting us to get off the block itself. It took a while for us to get it out. Really gave us a hard time for it. So the engine rebuild, crank was turned down, new bearings, sleeves, pistons, rings, wrist pins, everything brand new. Really fought us. to get all the old pistons out. But we did get new pistons and rings and everything to really come together. So, engine rebuild again, valve guides, head resurfaced, hardened, valve seats installed, just all together coming together with new parts and making sure everything was good. So that is my end of engine rebuild and finishing up the initial assessment. Now we are going to Caitlin Clemens that will tell you about the cleanup.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Clemens, and I am a sophomore at Danville High School. I help with this year's tractor restoration project for the Danville FFA. I will be talking about the cleanup, the electrical system, and the carburetor rebuild. First, the cleanup. We dealt with a lot of rust, a lot of dents, oil, and grease. To deal with the rust, we used a grinder and a wire brush to deal with the rust. More cleanup. After we got the engine and the front half of the tractor, we had the back half. We started with a lot of the body cleaning with the grinder and using the wire brush on the smaller details so we wouldn't break them. More cleanup. On the left, we were using vice grips to hold bolts for the grinder wheel so we make them look like new. On the right, we were using a wire brush to clean the grill. The grill was one of the harder parts because we had to be very careful so we would not break it, and we had to use a very small wire brush, which took a lot longer and a lot more time, but so we wouldn't break it. There was also a lot of dents in it, so we had to bend them out, and we had to be very extra careful so we wouldn't break the grill. Here's a picture of us doing more work on the body, and we're using a grinder to do body work. Electrical nightmares, frayed wires, and bad generator. We had to rewire the whole tractor due to it sitting out for so long that mice chewed the wires and water got into the wires, and we had to rewire the whole tractor on this build. Electrical upgrades. We upgraded to a 12-volt conversion, 12-volt ignition coil, 12-volt light bulbs, 12-volt alternator. We also put in new plug wires, distributor cap, spark plug, and battery cables. There is a picture of all of our new upgrades on electrical system. Carburetor rebuild. We had to rebuild the whole carburetor due to it sitting out for so long, and there was so much junk in this carburetor and so much water that it was not useful and we could not use it, so we had to rebuild it. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for this opportunity. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Michelle Stigwell. I am a junior here at Danville High School, and some of the mechanical updates we did on the tractor were we got new hoses and belts, a new radiator, new sediment bowl, new light switches, a new gas cap, new rear light assembly, and a new hydraulic oil temp gauge, and new oil gauge. So in this picture shows the hood before we had done any type of body work. All we had done was taken some wire brushes to it and cleaned it up. And then on a very cold winter day, we took a trip to Williamsport where we met Cliff, who showed us a lot about body work, where we were able to take this very dented grill and turn it into the very undented grill in this picture. Then we just resumed all of our cleaning. This picture is the gas tank, where we just took a wire brush and got all the paint, all the rust off of it, really revealing, though, all the dents and imperfections in the gas tank, which leads to this. We had used a sandable primer on the tank, hood, and the grill to smooth out the rust and all the dents that were left in it, which was a lengthy process, but it turned out amazing. Then here we have the fully partially assembled tractor on the trailer, ready to go out to Woodruff's for paint.
Hi, my name is Luciano Spaventa, and I'm a junior at Danville Area High School. The slides that I'll be covering today are the paint prep and painting process of the Farmall Super C. In this image, you can see the tape being applied to the parts that don't need to be painted. This is to ensure no red paint gets onto any of these areas. The lights, gauges, steering wheel, belts, hoses, radiator, and wires are all taped off. These two images are showing different angles of the areas that we taped off. In the left image, you can see the rear headlight taped off, and on the right image, you can see the exhaust and belts taped off. In these two images, you can see the front grille and fenders being prepped for paint, as well as the front headlights, steering wheel, and wires taped off to ensure no red paint gets on any of these. After everything's been taped off, it's time to prime. In these two images, you can see the front grille, hood, weights, and body of the tractor being primed. This is to ensure the paint comes on smooth. After the primer is dry, it's time for the red paint to come on. In these two images, you can see the red paint being put onto the tractor, as well as you can see a piece of paper being put in front of the radiator to ensure no paint gets into the radiator. In the right image, you can see the grille, or the fenders, the weights, and the back half of the tractor being painted. These two images show different angles of the tractor being painted. After the multiple coats are applied and the paint is dry, it's time to get put back together. The front grille and the fenders are all put back together, as well as the tape is removed from all the areas that don't need it anymore. These two images see the spark plugs, the front grille, the hood, the gas caps, all reassembled. On the right image, you can see a back portion of all the paint put on and the tape removed from the tractor.
Hello, I'm Tyler Hartley. I'm one of the FFA members that helped finished and worked on the tractor. Well, here in this slide, we have decals and the fenders on and heading back to the school. Well, we got the fenders painted and put back on, and we ended up putting warning stickers on the back of the tractor, and then we put McCormick's Farmall sticker on the front there, as you can see, and then we put a Super C sticker up here towards the front of the grill almost, and then we have the finished project here in front of the school. We got a nice picture of it saying Danville Area High School and the tractor in front of it. Then here we have us loading the tractor up to head to farm show. We got the wheels all cleaned up and nice and everything made sure we had cleaned up and made sure we brought other stuff just to make sure it got dirty on the way there. And luckily, we didn't have any problems getting it there, and everyone made it nice and safely. And here's all the the crew that helped work on the tractor. And then top of the list, you have me, and then Caitlin Clemens. She's not here in the picture. Mikey Howard, he's over here with the blue hair and the black hoodie. And then Brandon Miller in the far back of the tractor with the gray hat backwards. Treyu Pinketai's not in the picture. Luciano Spenta, he's here in the back with the nice black jacket and comb hair. Then Michelle Steigerwalt, the only girl in the picture with the between Spenta and Mikey Howard. And then Jesse White back here with the blue hoodie. And then the skills we obtained and the thought process we learned. So there was a lot of thinking involved in this because of all the wiring and how much rust we had on the tractor originally. So we did a lot of hand and power tool work to it. We did a lot of grinding with wire brushes a lot, or a wire handheld brush to grind all the rust off. And the one box under the seat had a bunch of bolts and wrenches, and had a bunch of grime all in it, and that took a lot of cleaning up to do. And then also, after we got that done, the battery box had a big old hole in it from over the years and rust, and we ended up cutting that out and taking another metal piece, cutting it out and bending it, and I ended up welding it on and grinding all the extra metal off and got it nice and flat, and ended up putting Bondo put some type of putty on it and let that dried up and cure, and sanded it out nice and fine so it can be primed and painted. And then all the wiring skills were mainly done from Mr. Schultz. And about that time, we were learning about wiring in school and basic wiring and plumbing. And Mr. Schultz kind of had us somewhat help him out with it and taught us things with that and with class. So that kind of worked out. And then the engine repair skills, Mr. Schultz usually went with his small gas engines with that and all the four strokes and stuff to help them learn and their knowledge. And then we went on a field trip for the paint preparation skills. Some of us went up and watched it being sanded down and primered and painted and all that good stuff. And that was really fun. A lot of us enjoyed that, and then impacted our future skills that helped us later on in life: engine repair, electrical system and repair, metal fabrication, automotive, and body technical. I want to be a mechanic when I'm older. Then this special thanks to Dean and Repairs Shop and Painting, Rob and Kelly Wells Tractor Funding Repairs, Cliff Sudjart, my bad, can't pronounce that. Tin Works, and then we have Hawks Repair Parts, then Crosley Automotive Engine Repair and Machining, and Lancaster's Farming, and the Friends of the Farm Show, and contestant sponsors. Well, that's everything, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy our tractor, and thank you for all your support.